How's it going, guys? Welcome to Audio Addiction. We have a special guest with us tonight. You can say his name, what he does, and obviously anything else you'd like to talk about.
My name is Mikeal James. I am a musician / tattoo artist, and I do all of the music things. Any music thing I can do, except play flute and saxophone. I'm not very good at those two instruments.
Awesome. Well, again, I want to give a shout outs to my girl. She's just obviously had sent me over to you, Mikeal. So I want to give a shout outs to, Nicole. She's just really killing it. Go check out her band Renovaire. But it's besides the point. We're here to talk about Mikeal, which is, I usually ask this to everybody I have on. So I figured to ask you this. How did you get started out in music? What kind of got you interested in making music, doing that whole thing? And then I guess what ultimately led you to doing this, I would imagine, as being kind of like a solo endeavor. Had you been in bands like prior to this and you're just like, you know what, maybe the whole band thing isn't for me or whatever, or you don't have a lot of time to devote to it. I could totally understand that. But what was kind of your mentality, starting what you're doing as I would imagine is kind of like a solo project kind of.
Yeah. I did actually play in a band for a while. I played in a band called the 11th Hour Onset.
Okay.
Which regionally we did. We toured, did our thing, but it's not like much ever came from it. But I've been writing music since I was like probably 8 or 9.
Okay.
I'm 22 now, and I always really enjoyed classical music. I played in orchestra as a kid, so
very cool.
I learned a lot of really important skills doing that. And then a few years ago, when 11th Hour Onset ended, I decided to start working on some music of my own. I have a band that I'm working with that's under lock and key right now.
Okay.
But the solo stuff is coming to fruition first. It's what I've put, I'd say, most of my time into, and that's what kind of Beyond the Great Sky ended up becoming. Sorry, I forgot to connect the two dots there, but Beyond the Great Sky is like classical music, essentially.
Okay.
Not quite as, I guess I could say, it's not quite as like carousel-y as like actual legitimate classical music. It's
I got you.
It's a little bit more vibey, but that's bouncing around through the music scene. The metal scene is kind of what pushed me into the direction of becoming a solo artist.
That's awesome. And I checked out Beyond the Great Sky, which I totally believe in. The first bit where I completely messed up that there was Michael's name and the album name. It was a whole funny bit, which you guys will, roast me for, I'm sure. But I thought, I checked all of it out because I was just like, let me just listen to it. Let me just give it, the proper amount of respect it deserves. And I was kind of surprised because I thought for sure, like you were saying, like, oh, it's like ambient, it's vibey, all that sort of stuff. So I'm like, okay, I'm thinking like post rock. It's gonna be like real, like ethereal, all this sort of stuff. And I listened to it and I was like, this is not what I was expecting by any stretch, which is great because I feel like a lot of people, I would imagine, are going to probably think that way. They're going to be like, oh, well, we know you from 11th Hour, or like, we just know you're a talented musician, and would probably never put the two and two together to do like kind of a more like semi-classical kind of record. And that kind of threw me because I was listening to it like on the drive home and I was like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, this is like, because like, I'm like, Mikeal does not look like the type of person that, which is no diss to you, does not look like the type of person that would write a semi kind of classical record. And I was like thoroughly impressed because I wasn't kind of expecting that out of it. I was like, oh, maybe it'll be like kind of like post metal or like, it'll have some vibes to it, but it was totally different from what I expected. And I don't know if you have showed anybody else it yet, of course, but like it's so different from what I thought it was. When you gave me the little like synopsis about it, I was like, there's no way this is gonna be like classical record. It was like literally like the last thing at the end of the line here of what I was thinking of. So
yeah, right.
but it's
of this weird bearded tattooed guy.
it pretty much. I was
I
like,
like violins.
I look for, yeah, you're like, man, orchestral music's great, you know, like, and it is, but like, I was genuinely surprised. Like, I legitimately, like, I very rarely get like really floored, and I was absolutely floored when I was just like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, this is great, but also, like, again, not what I expected at all. So I don't, like I said, I don't know if you showed anybody, but have people had solicited the same reaction? Because obviously you were in a metal band before, so I kind of imagine people are like, how, like, you know, why?
Yeah, and I have shown quite a few people. I have a little I have a group of people that I know. Like, not that I like. I don't like keep them in like a little pocketbook. Is like, yes, these are the people that bounce things off of.
Yeah, I got you.
But there's quite a few people that I know that I could send. I send a lot of demos to like get you know, opinions and stuff. And a lot of those people I had sent this, and I got pretty similar responses, and a lot of them were very mixed. And I think it's been very funny to me to see, because yeah, a lot of people are like, okay, so there's no breakdowns, there's no riffs, there's not even like, these are all things that don't like really use like electricity. Like, wow, where the fuck are oh shit, am I allowed to swear?
You can swear. You can swear.
Cool. They're like, where the fuck are all the other, like, where are the drums? Where are the hi-hats? Where are the crashes and the chinas? And just kidding. It hasn't been quite to that extent as far as reactions go. But a lot of people have been, yeah, very surprised that it was not what they were expecting. And I think the visual that I had that I paired with it, I might have sent that to you.
Yes, you did. Yeah.
I'm hoping that the visual pairs with that kind of reaction in a way that just is able to just hold an experience for people, you know, like they can
yeah.
listen to it and be like, what the fuck? And then also watch it and be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah. Like, cause I feel like it would make, I wouldn't say it would make less sense, but I feel like it makes more sense that there is a visual aspect to it, because I'm like able to kind of like visualize it, listen to it, and be like, okay, like, I don't get it personally now, but I think it makes more context in the sense of like, okay, this is visual, but it's also like very like auditory, and I like that because the way that the visuals and the audio work together, I think just works super well, and I think it only benefits what you're trying to do, because I can imagine going from like a metal band and then people being like a classical, like kind of a semi-classical record, they would be like, it just wouldn't make any sense. So I feel like pairing it with the video was definitely a smart way to go about it, for sure. And I think I feel like for me personally, it's like something I could put on like while I'm editing, and I did do. And like without the whole visual aspect, and I was like, this is great. Like, now I can be like more proficient and not have to hear like, you know, a China cymbal, like, you know, on a snare, like a snare roll, and I'm just like, it's just chill, you know. Like, a lot of people are surprised because like when I go to edit videos, sometimes I'll just listen to some like lo-fi or something like that that's not like really invasive, because like I love listening to music, so it's a good way for me to still, you know, incorporate that into doing stuff on the computer. But also at the same point, like, it's not like me having to like really distinctly listen to something and like be like, oh my god, that breakdown was nasty, or like that screamer was sick, or something like that. And I think, and I want to say it takes away from the immersion, but I feel like it has its own place in that aspect. But also because you're pairing it with something visual too, I think it also has a different meaning to that, where you can like visualize the emotions, or like certain things within the music that would culminate to the video. So I gotta give
Yeah.
you massive props. I don't know how long you've been working on that kind of like visual audio like thing, but I think personally for me, I think it translated well because I'm a very audio visual person, obviously, because I do this, but like,
Yeah, yeah.
but yeah, no, I think it works really well. So
Thank you.
how long did it take you to kind of come up with that thought process, Mike? Because I'm curious, like how long of a process has been for that?
Um, so writing the EP, I had a couple of the songs written already.
Hmm.
A couple of the longer ones I had written, and I was kind of just like, I should I should put out an instrumental EP that's like all just stuff like this because I really like doing stuff like this. So
Hmm.
I had finished the rest of it and had the visual made in about a month.
Oh, very cool.
Um, it wasn't a super long process, mainly just because I was like, like fucking, I'm I'm making these tunes, and it's like the representations of how I feel, and I could probably find an artist who would be able to match that, and I was luckily able to. His name's Gavin Sykes. I reached out to him recently after watching it for like the fifth or sixth time, and I was like, yo. I think this is going to be such a good release, and I just want you to know that I don't think it will have. If it's good, it won't have. It will not have been possible without you doing this. And you mentioning, how you can throw it on while editing or something like that. It's funny that you bring that up because my fiance said the same thing too. The first time that she listened, to it without like the before the visual was made, she was like, this could go on while I'm editing photos. She's a wedding photographer,
Oh, very cool, very cool.
or like doing yoga or something like that, or driving. And I think I didn't mean for it to be something that could be like multifaceted,
Sure,
between
yeah.
like being in the back of the mind or the front of the mind, depending on if you have the visual or not. But I think that little cool little bits of music like that um, are always byproducts of like somebody just having fun and
Oh, 100%, yeah.
really enjoy. I was talking to a buddy of mine about that the other day, about writing lyrics, because I do actually write music that has like singing and stuff
Yeah,
in it.
yeah,
And he was talking to me. He was like, it's kind of weird. Like sometimes I'll write lyrics for a song, and I don't really like. I just kind of let what comes out of me come out of me, and later on I'll assign like meaning to the song.
sure,
And
yeah.
I'm like, yeah, dude, me fucking too. Like that, it makes me feel crazy sometimes thinking about that because I'm like, oh well, I should have a direct, consequence in mind for writing something. But I guess this just goes to show that the process of this is similar to writing lyrics in the sense that I just kind of did what I did, and I was like, oh, maybe I could trust another artist to make something for the visual side of this, and
Sure.
it's turned out pretty good, I think. So I'm excited for it to actually be in front of people.
Yeah, no, I feel like, yeah, I do feel like there is a cool like dichotomy of like you said earlier, having the kind of visual aspect of it, but also like the listenability of just like being able to just listen to it and just like immerse yourself in it in a different aspect. And I think like instrumental music as a general, like anything, like anything from like post rock instrumentalists to like to like classical shit. I feel like they get a bad rap because it's like, oh my god, like we're so attuned to like having vocals in your music and stuff.
Yep.
And I think there's something about like instrumental music that like there's definitely artists that kind of play in that lane of like, hey, like we do instrumental music, but there's like something about it that is like, more like vocally inspired. Like the one that I can think of off the top of my head is like Intervals. Aaron Marshall like plays guitar, and his guitar lines are like very like vocal esque, like in terms of his
Yeah.
leads. And I'm like, that's really cool because like if I like, I feel like if a vocalist ever got onto it, you can kind of hear like the different melodies that they would do vocally, but it's just played on a guitar, which is great. But then you get stuff like one of my personal favorite bands is like Tides of Man, like beside, both like new and old shit. But like
Yeah.
their new stuff's like more post rock and like more open, more ethereal and stuff. And you can kind of get like different emotions, different feelings out of each songs. And like, I think that's kind of like, at least for me, what separates a good like instrumentalist is like the way that they can kind of translate emotions without having to like sing or use lyricism to kind of convey that. Like you could listen to a song and be like, shit, this is heavy, because like it has that like depth to it, and I felt like with a lot of your stuff, while some of it was like more on the chiller side, there's definitely some moments where I was like, okay, so there's like kind of like this little ethereal darkness in there that was really tight. And it definitely reminds me a lot of like movie scores and stuff. So I imagine there's definitely some influence there with that. But it's cool how you translate those sorts of things into like a instrumental record, kind of similar to like, I know everybody mentions him as being one of the goats, but like Hans Zimmer, like he's one of the best, and I feel like you I feel like you guys, I definitely feel like you take a page out of his book in terms of like his writing, and like it's cool. So I give you props, because like, again, for the shock value, and also like what I was expecting versus what I actually got was very cool. So I was extremely pleasantly surprised with the end result, pretty much.
I appreciate the kind words, man. I really do. And that's one of the things that I've really always loved about instrumental music is, like you said, you can hear an instrumental song and it'll I don't want to say that like a good instrumental song has to do this, because there's so many great instrumentalists that probably don't do this with their music, but like,
sure, yeah,
a good instrumental song, can take you through the exact same kind of journey that singing a vocal melody over something with some drums and a bass line can do.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah.
it's funny, I've noticed a lot of times like these instrumental like bands or projects that you were mentioning that kind of don't really get the credit that they deserve, I think, most of the time. I feel like a lot of times they're ignored by musicians, and like not always.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I got you.
Because there's the huge following for like Polyphia, right?
Sure, yeah.
And like huge amount of their following is musicians.
Yeah.
And but then you can look at other bands like Animals as Leaders, right? They are fucking huge.
Yes.
And like, I know, and like looking at the kinds of like shows that they play and like sell out, and like the kind of sales that they get, that's not all musicians, Like, I feel like a lot of times musicians are some of the people that look down on stuff like that.
I got you, yeah.
Not always, obviously, but like I could already imagine that when I put this piece of, this body of work out, which is nothing compared to like the shit that like Tosin Abasi writes on like his guitar, or like you mentioned Hans Zimmer. I actually don't know who that is, and you mentioning that made me like recoil for a second. I'm like, should I have known this?
I feel like you should know. I feel like you should know who Hans Zimmer is. He's done like I'm trying to think what he's done recently. He did I don't know how big of a comic book fan you are, but he did the Christian Bale like trilogy of music for like Batman Begins, Dark Knight, and I fucking forget the I don't remember the third one, but basically the Batman trilogy of movies. He's done like all the music. He does all the music, like orchestral arrangements for those movies and stuff. So if you haven't, go check his stuff out. I'm
100% gonna.
Yeah, I can guarantee.
I'm 100% gonna. I was just in that moment. I was like, did I not do my fucking homework?
It's a huge compliment. I just want to let you know, like he's one of the best. Personally, I would argue he's one of the best composers, modern composers out there, hands down.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the comparison. I'm gonna go online tonight and I'm gonna look up everything about him because that's exactly what happens when people mention anyone to me
You got to.
that
You
I
can't
think is like
remember it.
semi interesting.
I always find people that are like, oh my god, you haven't heard of this band before. You know how many bands that I have to listen to on like a given month? You know, like there is no way I could get through every single artist that has ever existed. Like, and
Yeah,
especially
right.
your maybe like your very niche band that I've never heard of that has played to like people in like Idaho. Like, I'm not gonna fucking know that, you know? But
Yeah,
like, and
right.
you can't hold people responsible for being like, yo, I don't fucking know who that band is or whatever. So I am totally like like definitely go check out his stuff. And
Yeah,
I'm a little surprised, but like at the same point, like it's cool because I'm sure you're gonna dig his stuff for 100%.
yeah. No, I'm sure I will. I'm sure I will. But you know, when I put Beyond the Great Sky out, I can already tell that in the area here that I'm in, I'm just south of Milwaukee, right? So
Okay.
like Milwaukee has like the big music scene. Chicago is just south of us. They have a really big music scene. I'm in a town like right in between, and like it is a very small world around here. And there are a few dudes from like metalcore bands that like don't play metal anymore. I know I'm gonna put this out, and they're gonna be like, hmm, hmm, did it all on his computer. Yeah, fair. I did do it all on my computer. That's because I can't afford one violin.
Yeah, that's like
Nonetheless, like
yeah, it's a lot of
20.
money. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Let me just go hire a whole horn section right
Yeah.
quick. And it just comes back to my point of like I feel like musicians ignore things like that. Or I guess sometimes underestimate people that do something similar. And not that it's it's not the end of the world. It's I'm a tattoo artist. Tattoo artists are fucking egotistical, cocky shitheads, and so are musicians. Like it, we all are to some degree. Like it's totally okay that like there are people that shit on Aaron Marshall or like Fleeny, even
Yeah,
though they're like
Fleety, yeah.
two of two of the most amazing musicians on the planet
Oh,
that like
100%. 100%.
that craft like stories with their guitars, and like they're so slept on by musicians, but that's okay because I feel like people that aren't musicians or aren't like inherently in this space of constantly trying to create like music, I feel like those people understand the value of like groups like Intervals or Pliny or Animals as Leaders or
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
any group, even if it's outside of like the band circuit, just instrumental music in general.
Yeah,
I think,
I think it's also like I don't think there's like if you think about it in terms of like lyricism too, like there's definitely certain stuff that like people don't listen to because maybe it's like, oh, maybe the lyrics don't like resonate with me. Like there's no lyrics in obviously instrumental music, so like I think there's just a level of like openness that, like you said, like there's another market that other people just
yeah,
don't listen to that type of like that don't listen to like stuff with like lyrics in it are gonna get a lot more enjoyment out of. And I think, and I have to, I like 100% agree with you on the whole like musicians and like being like super hard on like shit. Like
yeah,
I genuinely try not to be that way just because like music is music. You make it, you create it. Like we should celebrate the fact that people make music. It period. And so I, like I said, I dug it because it's something that, as somebody who listens to a lot of metalcore, and stuff like that, it
sure.
is was a complete nice change of pace. And and something that I personally haven't like realistically tapped into here on the channel. So you might be the first person that has done like orchestral like this sort of shit. So
I'm
congrats to
honored.
you, Mike.
Thank you. Yeah,
um
I think another big part of it too, a lot of time, or at least with how special like the whole instrumental thing can be. I think a lot of it really has to do with like expectation, also.
yeah.
Like you were saying, it's about trying to like celebrate the crafting of music, and like me personally, I always try. The last couple of years, I've tried not to be hard about like listening to something, and
Sure, yeah.
I feel like I've gotten a lot better at it. Um, But to me, it just came down to like expectation. Like I set such or used to set such unrealistically high expectations for anything. You know, if a band had a follow-up album, be like, this doesn't sound anything like that album. Or like when Under Oath came out with their album after breaking up for, you know, whatever it was, 6 years or 5 years
Yeah,
or
Erase
whatever.
Me. Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember somebody, I was talking to somebody from the local scene around here, and they were like, yeah, it's kind of meh. And I was like, what you mean is it's not, they're only chasing safety. And they're like, yeah.
That's true.
I'm like, okay, well, that album is like 14 years old, so why would it be that album? You know? It's
Yeah.
expectations like that that I think can be detrimental to how we perceive music sometimes.
Oh, 100%. Like I always say like if I'm not particularly a fan of it, somebody else might enjoy it, and so my
Yeah,
job is not to say this album sucks ass, you know, don't go listen to it. I'm like, you know, go listen to it. If you actually enjoyed my thoughts on it and my critiques on it or whatever, like you go listen to it and enjoy it and take it for, you know, however you want to take it.
yeah, make your own critiques.
Yeah, don't rain on someone else's parade if they enjoy it. So, but the next question, Mike, I'm very curious on how you're going to answer this. Who kind of influenced you in terms of music? Obviously, probably more related to what you're doing with your solo stuff. What kind of got you into making like orchestral music and like wanting to go that route? Obviously, I know you're born and raised in the metalcore scene, so I feel like there's definitely some influences there, but that I don't feel like maybe might not translate into what you're doing with that. But who
There's
kind
a few
of
dots that are missing.
there's a few dots. Yeah, there's a little bit of gray area in there. But like who kind of got you into wanting to write more like orchestral instrumental sort of music?
That's a very good question. So there's a few names in this that I have to drop in order. The first one being Jake Wolf from Reflections.
Oh, okay, yeah, he's great.
I heard him speak about an artist one time named Helios, and around the time where he was going through a lot of shit in his life, I think one of his buddies had passed away in a fire. He listened to this album by an artist called Helios that was called Yumi. So I went and found it and I listened to it, and I smoke a shit ton of weed. And the night that I found this, I indeed smoked a shit ton of weed, and I was probably like 16 when I did this. And I listened to that album all the way through and had a very, very insane experience. And that was the tip of the iceberg for me. This was all instrumental stuff. So Helios he's a guy named Keith Kenneth. Keith Kenneth releases music under the name Helios, which is like, it's stuff very similar to like this music that I have on Beyond the Great Sky, where it's instrumental, but like also not everything is technically like an instrument that's inside of it.
I got you. Yeah.
He releases stuff under the name Goldmund, which is all like classical piano sonatas or whatever they would technically be called.
That's cool.
He releases stuff under his name Keith Kenneth, which is all like movie scoring stuff.
Very cool.
And then he releases stuff with his wife. I can't remember what they call themselves. They're like a little group. But he was the first person that had really shown me that you could write music that was just all what you felt. And that's what a lot of it is with this kind of music for me, is that like I universally, like there's a language barrier between everyone, right? Like even just having a language, like having a way to represent your thoughts and your feelings that aren't like your thoughts and feelings, that is just a barrier right off the bat. So like this kind of music in and of itself is very universal because there's no barrier at all, like except for, you know, maybe if you use a shitty untuned piano, or like you fuck something up in it or make it sound, you know, kind of scratchy or whatever. You don't really have, even then it's not really that much of a barrier, but it's something that's very open-ended, and that's what I really loved about it, was the fact here's this guy pumping out music between 4 or 5 different names, and each name has an album coming out every 2 years, like on an actual legitimate album cycle. And he's still scoring movies for people, and still like scoring commercials and doing all this shit with his wife. And I obviously, being a fan of classical music, I was always really into like the Bach cello suites and stuff like that. And I also had found an artist called Yuruma within the last few years.
Yuruma's great.
Yuruma, oh my god, amazing. Like I legitimately listen to that man's music and cry. Like it is so good at invoking emotion. And in all of those things paired with me finding psychedelics a few years ago, it was a fucking wrap, man. Like I tripped ass for my first time when I was like 18 or 19, and like I put on Helios and listened to it and was like, wow, yep, this makes sense. This all makes sense. So like all of that, me just happening to hear Jake talk about that in an interview, combining with the artists that I've kind of culminated into my taste, mixed with the psychedelic experience, is what led me to where I am now, I guess. And it's funny that you mentioned like scoring at the beginning of all this, because when I started getting into like writing this stuff for Beyond the Great Sky, that's kind of what my thought process was. I was like, oh, I'd love to score something. And actually, the guy who mastered Beyond the Great Sky for me just hit me up about a scoring gig for an Amazon show.
Oh, very cool.
It's coming to fruition. It's all manifesting.
There we go.
Happen.
We love to see it. We love to see it. That's great. That's cool. I'll have to check those out, because like I said, it's always good to have like those types of artists in my back pocket to listen to while I'm just like chilling or editing or whatever, like something a little bit more low key that I could just like enjoy the music and not really have to like go out of my way to like really listen hard to it. Not to say that I won't, my experience enjoying it won't be any less, but I think it'll just make the process of listening to it a lot easier. So
totally get what you mean.
Definitely go check all of those out. They're great. I'm sure they are. I feel like Michael's got some good ones, so I have to go give it a listen. But the next question, Michael, keeping it more current, who you've been listening to lately? Doesn't necessarily have to be classical music, but what are some of the artists you've been jamming recently?
I've actually been listening to a lot of hip hop lately.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I've been listening to a lot of Loot Pack. I've been listening to a lot of. Let me find out what this dude's name is, because I can never remember. He's in my playlist though. Is this it? This is it. Jid, Jid. I've been listening to a lot of him lately. And then like the typical regular stuff, I listen to a lot of like Circus Survive, City in Color, Balance and Composure, that's their name. I was gonna say Coheed and Cambria, but I know that's not it. I don't know. It's funny. I listen to so much music. Like my fiance all the time will be like, I have no fucking idea how you find like so many new artists and shit every day. But I listen to a lot of the same shit, I feel. I just found a band recently, Microwave.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
Yeah, I have a song in their playlist, and it's really good. Like it's funny because the dude's his voice reminds me of like Fern from Adventure Time. Like if the voice actor who played Fern had like a band, I'm pretty sure that is the band.
Yeah, I didn't. Wow, I didn't really think about that. That's good. I like that. I'll have to.
Yeah.
That was a good tidbit. I was like thinking about that. I was like, wait, that does make sense. That's really cool. But yeah, Microwave, they're fantastic. Underrated band for sure.
Yeah, I gave them one spin, and I was like, why do I not know more of these guys' music? Like, I need way more of this music. And I've just 100%. Been lazy at jumping into it. But it's funny, you mentioned earlier when you were talking about music that you can edit to. Do you listen to Anthony Green?
Oh yeah, I love Anthony Green. Fantastic.
Dude, his his record, Would You Still Be in Love with like Strings? Would You Still Be with Strings? That album is so good for like if you need to work, clean, draw, edit, whatever. Like that is always at the top of my playlist. Like for like tattooing, I'm like, all right, I gotta throw that on because yeah, essential.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I've listened to that a ton. I picked up. I'm a vinyl collector, so I just bought. And I'm also a big video game fan. So there's this guy named Mikeal, and he does lo-fi beats of like the Pokemon series, which is like one of my favorite video game series of all time. And so he does these like he did, I think it's like 18 tracks or something like that, but it's like all these like lo-fi kind of like real chill stuff, and I love it. Like I put that on a lot. So I mean that's something that I really enjoy. And he's done like other video game series and stuff, but he's fantastic. If not, I listen to a lot of Studio Ghibli movie score soundtracks because they just perfection.
Fuck
Love
yeah.
it.
I want to know more about you. How'd you start this? When did you start it?
I started this 5 years ago, a little over 5 years ago now. A lot of my main focus was on like alternative music. So like I grew up listening to like everything from like August Burns Red to like, you know, like just the typical like post-hardcore, screamo, metalcore, all that shit. And then I got into like math rock, indie, like all that sort of stuff. And then as of more recently, I've been really getting into like pop music and like hip hop / rap. I've always really liked rap, but I really hadn't delved into it now until this point. And then I would also put like folk in that mix because like I love like Julian Baker.
Yes.
Phoebe Bridgers is great.
Yes.
I'm glad you mentioned City and Color. He's awesome too. Like I love all that like folksy, the folksy sort of stuff like that. So I've been really vibing out with like City and Color, Phoebe Bridgers, Julian Baker. Boy Genius is great because it's like I think it's Julian Baker. There's a couple different artists in that group, but like that's fantastic. So I delve into that, and then the only genre I'm not really a fan of is country music. I am not by any stretch of imagination. I'm not a country fan. No diss to country artists. I just
Dude,
can't stand it.
I'll fucking diss them. I'll diss them. Hold on. I'll diss them. I do a podcast about psychedelics, and I had somebody on, a pretty well-known producer named Andreas Magnuson, and him and I were actually talking about it. You know what irks me about fucking country music? You know what irks me? And I can say this because I have a mother who is a diehard country fan. Like any song that has not been written in the last 2 or 3 years that is country, I probably know most of the words to. Against my will, but I know the words to them. You know what it is? This is not true about every single country fan. Clearly, I know people that listen to country music that are not like this at all. But a lot of country fans that you can find are fucking racist. Not all of them. Not all of them. It's a generalized statement. But a lot of them
I get it.
Are super fucking racist, and they're the kinds of people that'll look at somebody with their pants hanging on their ass, and they won't view it as like a difference in like kind of like culture. They'll view it as like a difference in like humanity. They'll be like, "Oh, you're a horrible human if somebody can see your boxers." Shut the fuck up. And that's not even my main point. My main point is that if you look at country music, what kind of elements are they now incorporating into their music? Hip hop. They are stealing elements of rap and hip hop music, and they have been for the last like 5 or 6 years ish. They've been slowly taking more and more from hip hop and rap.
Yeah.
And people fucking eat it up, man. And it's like, no, you know what? You don't get to have those. You don't get to have the 808s. You don't get to have the claps. You don't get to have the flow because you demonized all that shit. You said it wasn't real music, and now you slap you slap fucking Trace Paisley Adkins over it, and all of a sudden it's better. I'm over it, and I'll die on that hill.
I I have to say that was so poignantly done because it's so true. And when you were saying about the whole like trap beats and stuff, the only band I could think of was Florida Georgia Line, because they are they are the poster child for doing that shit. So I don't want to give them any promotion. I want to give them any promotion whatsoever. Not that they give a shit about me, and I don't give a shit about them. But like, my God.
Hey man, we're talking about geography.
Yeah,
we ain't talking about no band. Florida Georgia Line, that's a place.
It is. You're right. So that is we are gonna cap it off at that. That is all that I don't. That is what I don't care about. But
no,
yes,
for sure. I had to rant about that.
I respect that immensely. I feel the same way about country music. So I'm glad we were on the same page. But yeah, no, I try to branch out as much as I can. In terms of rap artists that I've been listening to lately, I love NF. I think he's fantastic. He's really doing some big shit. I'm trying to think who else. My shout outs to my homie Retro. He's been on the channel a few times. Go check out Retro Champion. He's hard. He's so good. Like, I love his flow. His writing style is really powerful. And I think he's great. I think he'll definitely be like one of the best up and coming rappers for sure. He's got some good shit. So go check him out. But yeah, I really genuinely try to listen to this stuff. And again, shouts to Nicole. When you sent me this over Mike, I was just like, gotta have Mike on, because like it's something different for me personally. And who knew that we were just gonna talk shit about country music? So that's a win-win for me. I'm set. I'm good.
Well, I'm eager to show you some of the other stuff that I have also coming out at different points this year also, just based off of how well this conversation has gone.
There we go. Well, you're more than welcome. You're more than welcome to come back on, Mike, anytime. But the next question, Mikeal, is another fun one. What is your favorite food to eat?
That's hard, because I love everything. I eat everything except lima beans and sauerkraut. I don't fuck with either of those two food items.
Okay, I feel.
I really, really, really like mastacholi. I also really, really like sandwiches.
Oh, okay.
And I really, really like sushi. Like, I have eaten myself sick with fucking sushi like a few times. Not like worm sick, but like, I can't move and I'm miserably sick.
Like, I know. I think I told this story. I definitely have told this story on the channel at least once. But one of my old jobs, I used to work with like a lot of my friends, so we were like, whenever we get done with work, we should all go out and get some food together. And we all collectively love sushi, so I was just like, let's just go get some sushi, right? So we go and get some sushi. I think collectively between the 5 of us, I think we ate like 125 pieces together. And I literally have never felt that much in a food. I think I ate like upwards of 20 pieces or more, and I wanted to die. Like, it was great because like I was in, like, if I literally drove my car off a cliff, I would be totally like, I would be in sushi heaven, you know? I'd die happy. Yeah. But like, I wouldn't want to die, but if it happened to be, that's what it is. But like, man, my stomach has never felt that full in my entire life, I don't think. So, shouts to sushi, all you can eat sushi place we went to, because my God, I was like, because the waitress came around and she's just like, okay, you guys done? Do you guys want some ice cream? And we're all like, well, who's gonna say no to like red bean ice cream or like green tea ice cream after like fucking 25 pieces of sushi in your stomach? So that was, I'll never forget that experience. But yeah, I totally get you on your love of sushi, because I also am a sushi fiend as well.
That sounds great. I don't know if I would trust the all you can eat though.
It was like, I trusted it because like I've eaten there before, and they're all expensive? Like, it wasn't. This was a couple years ago. I'd trust it
if it was expensive.
It was like, yeah, it was. I think it was like 20 a plate, like 20 20 all you can eat. But like if you didn't finish your plate,
Okay.
you have to pay that extra money to like obviously pay for the food that they're wasting.
The rest of the roll or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. That's actually a pretty solid fucking deal.
I know, yeah.
I would do that. Where do you live again?
I live in New Jersey, so it would be quite
Coming
a
up to
hike.
Jersey,
You're gonna take a road trip out here. Mike and I are gonna get sushi the next time the road trip's coming. But yeah, no, I feel you on that. Now I'm thinking about it. I'm like, maybe my girlfriend and I will get sushi this weekend or something.
Dude,
Who
do
knows?
it. I'm gonna let me know when you're getting it so I can get it, and it can be like a cross, like an interstate line, like sushi date.
There you go.
It's funny. Not to. I guess that this isn't off topic. This is very on topic, but off topic from the conversation at hand directly. But you talking about like clarifying like if you died after that you'd be in sushi heaven. It's funny because I mention stuff like that all the time. And Beyond the Great Sky is about dying. It's an EP that I wrote about dying.
Yeah, it does feel that way. So I'm glad we full circled it. With the whole concept.
Yeah. I was thinking about that. I don't know why it made me think of it, but yeah, all about dying, man.
Actually, in the album art there's just a little sushi like roll in the. You gotta look for it. You gotta use the eagle eyes.
Sushi death.
Yeah, sushi death. That'll be his next album. That'll be the follow up. But yeah, no.
Sushi death.
Sushi death will be the follow up. But yeah, no, I love sushi. So anytime, if there's anybody that's out there that knows any good sushi places for Mikeal and I to check out eventually, let me know, because we would be very stoked. Drop them in the comments. But the next question, Mike, if there was somebody you would want to collaborate with, who would it be?
Oh, fuck. Like if I could bring Mac Miller back, I'd want to collaborate with Mac Miller.
Okay.
There is also, I mean, it would be awesome to collaborate with like Keith Kenneth, like Helios.
Sure, yeah.
But I think more than anything, I'd probably really like to collaborate with Justice West. He is,
yeah.
You know Justice West?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to collab. And I mean, maybe I'm biased because I really like Mac Miller and like him playing with him. That's kind of how I like found his music. But that dude's like the same age as me, and he has like fucking Grammys and shit, and like custom like one-of-one guitars.
Yeah.
And he's so good at playing every one of them. Like, I would love to collaborate with him. Or I mean, because I mentioned it before, but Dallas Green. I'd love to write an album with Dallas Green. I would love to just meet Dallas Green and talk to him for like 2 minutes. Yeah. It'd be so nice.
I missed out. I think it was I was gonna see him last year because he announced a tour in Philadelphia, which is like the closest city, and Philadelphia's not far away from where I live now. And I was like, oh my God, I'm finally going to be able to see him. Like, I've literally been waiting forever because he very rarely tours this. I wouldn't say very rarely. It's very unlikely that he tours the States.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I need to see him because I had like an old friend of mine. He went to go see him and he was just like, everything that you imagine him to sound like on the record, he sounds just as good, if not even like a slightly bit better live. And I'm like, I hate you, first of all. Secondly, he needs to play here. So he was going to play, and unfortunately they had to cancel the tour because of the pandemic and all that sort of stuff. So I was like, fuck. So Dallas Green, if you happen to watch this, please reinstate the tour or like reschedule it, because I need to make that happen. And that needs to be in my life.
Please?
Yes.
Dude, did you see he just did vinyl represses finally of Sometimes.
Yeah, I just saw that. I think it's tomorrow morning. So I'm gonna have to be on my computer at 10 a.m.
Do you like his album Little Hell?
I do. I love that.
I saw in the comments somebody asked about him repressing Little Hell, and he said yeah.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
I'm gonna hate so much.
I don't even like. I own like 2 vinyl records. I'm not like a huge vinyl guy, but like I am for sure like those two those two albums, I'm 100% buying. I
Yeah,
need to.
I picked up I picked up his newest record on vinyl, and I love it. So
So
I got
good.
the newest one's fantastic too. I don't know how he does, like, I legitimately don't know how he gets better with each album. I just like it
Dude,
literally puts
me
me
fucking
starter
neither.
me. I just don't get it. It's so
No,
good.
I don't get it either. And you know, it's funny. I was talking that same buddy who I was talking about earlier with the whole lyric process.
Yeah.
I was talking to him about lyrics, and him and I are both Dallas Green fans. And one thing that dude's music has taught me, I feel like a shithead sometimes if I use certain words in more than one song. Like, there's certain words that I've noticed that I tend to use in like lyrics, and
Mhm.
like for a long time, I've made myself feel like I shouldn't be doing that. But then I look at his music, and I'm like, okay, you talk about a lot of the same shit. You use a lot of the same words. Like, he says wind a lot.
He does say
You
window.
notice that? He says wind a lot. He says, like, you know, there's a lot of motifs in his music, and it's just taught me that it's okay to do that.
Oh,
You
100%.
know, because that guy writes so unapologetically. Like, he doesn't give a fuck, and he's one of the best at it. I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, if it's okay for him, it's okay for me.
I would hard agree with that. So I'm excited. Fingers crossed that I get both of those Little Hell and Sometimes, because I would
Yeah.
be very, very, very happy about that. So guys, make sure not to take all of them because I need one. And
Yeah,
don't take one from Mike either, because Mike needs to get them too. So, well,
of
just
course. I would rather you get one than I, though.
Oh, thank you, I appreciate it.
Of course.
Mike, the next question is an interesting one because I believe you did all of the like stuff for the EP, like, you know, obviously digitally, because we made a joke about not being able to afford a over $1,000 violin.
Yeah.
But if there was another musical instrument you could master that you don't know, what would it be?
Definitely the piano. Like, I know how to play piano, and I kind of like, I play it without like traditionally playing it,
Gotcha.
but I'm in no way anywhere near like a master at it. So if I could master piano, I'd probably be really happy. Or maybe cello. Cello's really
Ooh,
fun.
cello is cool.
I'm not super good at playing cello, but I can play. You know the song "Forgive and Forget" by Miss May I?
Oh yeah.
I can play the riff from that on the cello. So
Oh,
I
that's
think
pretty tough.
I do okay. I can do it. I make it work.
You can make it work. Yeah. There we go.
But probably piano. Piano's super fucking hard.
Yeah. So hopefully next time Mike will be a pianist. The next time we have him on here.
I hope that when I'm here next time, I'm a penis.
Not. I hope you're not. I mean, if you are, this is what it is. Yeah. The next
No,
one.
thank you. Maybe I'll get my pianist chops up by then.
There we go. The next question, Mike, for people who are new to you, new to your music, what song would you recommend to listen to off of Beyond the Great Sky that is like your personal favorite? I know every song is like a baby, you know, it's like one of your favorite child, but like, you know, do you happen to have one?
I would say, I mean, the title track, Beyond the Great Sky, is the last one, and I'd say that one just because I think that one is the most communicative of the mindset in which I wrote the record under, but that's at the end. Maybe I'm biased because I think that it sounds great because it's like at the end and like ties all the loose ends together, but Sullen Grace, which is track number 3, I think is a good one for people to check out because it's my favorite on the thing aside from the title track. So probably Sullen Grace.
There we go. Awesome. Next question, Mike. My personal favorite. I'm a nerd, so I like asking it. If you could be a video game character, who would you be?
Sly Cooper.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Definitely Sly Cooper. I would say probably Andrew Reynolds from Skate 3, but that's just because I love skating and I love Andrew Reynolds. But that doesn't count. He's a real person. He's not a video game character. So it's Sly for sure, or maybe Jack from Jack and Dexter.
Oh, that's a good one too.
That would be rad.
That would be
But
sick.
probably more so Sly. I don't know why. Sly just seems cooler. He's way more sleek.
I got you. Yeah. 100% underrated video game too. Check out Sly Cooper if you haven't. That's
Who
like
would you
good
be?
shit. I have said this many times, so to keep within I want to say transparency. There's a word I can't fucking remember it.
Continuity.
Continuity. That's the word. Thank you. Thanks, Mike. To keep continuity, I am going to say the trainer from Pokemon Gold and Silver, which is ironically enough named Brendan. So I feel like I would have to go with that. That's my choice. For forever and always. If I had to stray from that derivative, I probably would pick I love Sora from Kingdom Hearts. So I feel like that would probably be my second choice.
That's fair. He's the one with the key, right?
Oh yeah, this little dude here.
Yeah.
You
could fuck some motherfuckers up with that.
I know,
dude.
yeah.
Clank them
especially
on the head.
2 of them. Oof.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah.
There we go. Awesome. Next question, Mike. If you were to compile a dream tour lineup, who would be on it?
Is this under the context of like a tour, like a package that I would be playing, or no? Or just a tour to go see?
That's up to you. That's up to you.
I'm gonna go with package that I would just be seeing because that's I don't know, little pretentious. No, but I would say, so opener to headliner. Shit. I would say this is gonna be a very weird mashup.
Okay, I'm ready for it.
From Indian Lakes.
Oh, great band. Shout out to them.
Thrice.
Okay, loving it so far.
Seosin.
Ooh.
Circa. City and Color.
Ooh, that is sick. I like that. Okay, are we talking about like Anthony Green Seosin, or are we talking about like Cove Seosin?
I would have to say Anthony Seosin, just because their last record that they did with him was fucking great.
Okay.
And also, I've heard that the Cove days he wasn't great live, which is okay because it's not like Anthony Green is like perfect live either. But yeah, I'd have to say Anthony era, just because it's Anthony. I'm biased.
I feel that. I'm a Cove stan, so like that hurt me a little bit internally, but I'm not gonna disrespect your choice. You know, it ain't mine. So
I love his albums with them, especially In Search of Solid Ground. Oh God, I think that's one of the most underrated albums in like mid to late 2000s.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
All across the board.
I feel like people sleep on that record all the time. So I love it.
Yeah.
I love those 2 records. I didn't really heavily get into Anthony Green. I got into Anthony Green stuff more in terms of like Circa Survive. I obviously love him in that. And not that I want to disassociate the 2 together, because obviously I know we wouldn't have Seosin without Anthony Green. So I have to give him the props for that. But yeah, I feel like Anthony Green fits Circa Survive so much better, and personally, I feel like Cove fits Seosin better. I didn't see Cove with Seosin live, so I personally can't speak on that, on how bad it is. But again, it's a live show. You know, why the fuck you gotta be so hard on the critiques? It's like, Jesus Christ, if you're moving around on stage and singing, I mean, I can't imagine someone being good. If someone is good, that's awesome. You know, you do you, great job.
Even better. Brownie
Even
points.
better. But it's just about the experience of being at the show. So people get butthurt about that all the time. So.
I agree. I can respect that. Dude, can you imagine how expensive of a package that would be?
Oh, I can't even imagine. But I would pay it, though, because I love all of those bands.
Like, I would pay $100 a ticket to see a show like that.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Like, easy.
Yeah, I'm just saying, if anybody inside of any of the booking teams with any of those artists, hear me out, okay? Please do it, because people will pay $100 for a ticket, and you can find at least 1,300 motherfuckers that'll pay that price. Just fucking do it and make bank. Make it happen, please.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like that's a high possibility on the list here. But
oh God, yeah.
The next question, Mike, favorite TV show, favorite movie.
So for my favorite TV show, I want to say House because I really,
Ooh,
really liked House when it was on.
yeah.
Um, I really like The Good Doctor these days. I don't know what it is with doctor shows, and I guess I just like them. Uh, and I also really like Mayans. I like Sons of Anarchy, and I like Mayans.
Ooh, okay, okay.
Actually, you know what? There is one that reigns supreme though, and that is Weeds.
Ooh, okay.
Weeds
Wow,
was a very
nice.
good show.
Okay.
So I'll have to say Weeds. Uh, as far as movie goes, that's hard. I really like Caddyshack. Caddyshack
Ooh,
is one of
yeah.
my favorites. Yeah, or Boondock Saints, I guess. Caddyshack or Boondock Saints one. They're even.
They're tied for first. I got you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's great. Caddyshack, underrated film. Great film.
yeah.
I'm all about a good humorous film, and that one up there for sure. So, and
I
Boondock Saints is also classic too. Great movie choice too.
I've theorized to friends of mine in the past that I think I might be the reincarnation of Doug Kenny, who was the guy that. Do you know who Doug Kenny is?
I
He
do
wrote.
know who Doug Kenny is. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, you know what? I swear I have like somewhat vivid memories of being on a cliff in Hawaii at some point. I don't
That's
know.
Who knows? Who knows? The next thing, Mike, ironically enough, you talked about an island, and we're going to be talking about an island in this question. If you were trapped on a desert island for the next month and there was one record you could bring with you to listen to, what would it be?
Shit. Probably Little Hell by City and Color. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, there we go.
Like that album like feeds my soul anytime that I'm like happy or anytime I'm sad or anytime I'm really angry. But it's got to be the deluxe edition that has the one song at the end where it's all just a cappella. I can't remember what it's called. But so it'd have to be the deluxe edition so that way I could get that. But yeah, probably that record.
I got you. That coming from a City and Color stan, much like myself, I would have to agree. That's a
Yeah.
fantastic choice.
Is that your record pick for that?
Oh, let me think. That's tough. I love that record. I'm trying to think if there's one more I probably, honestly, if I really had to choose it, ironically enough, it would be the Seosin self-titled record. I feel like from front to back, that is like perfection. At least you can't. When I
fair.
think of like classic 2000s like post-hardcore, that's what I think of. Like I
Yeah.
just think of that record all the time.
Yeah, that shit's literally like the Bible of like
Oh, 100%.
like emo alt
Yeah.
emo music.
Pretty much. I would
So
say that
good.
or like I also like I'm a really big fan of ABR, so I'd probably say like Constellations as a second.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. I'm a huge fan of August Burns Red, dude. I'm a
Yeah.
huge fan. Like, oh my God, there's this thing in Racine here. The city that I live in is Racine. There's a thing here. It's called Kringle. It's a Danish pastry type thing. We're the only place that like sells it fresh in like the whole country. It's a thing that's pretty much only around here. I think because it was patented, the name of it was patented as Racine Kringle. So I think it made it really hard for other places to like legally
Use
sell
that
it.
name. Yeah.
Yeah, it's something like that. But they played Milwaukee here when I was probably like 16, and it was my first paycheck working, like having a job, so I bought a VIP ticket, and I was last in line, and I was really upset because I was 15 or 16, and I had no ID, obviously, so the box office lady didn't give me my poster for the tour. And like
Oh my God.
I get up and I take my photo with the guys, and I think it was Dustin was like, "Are you okay? Like you seem really upset." And I was like, honestly, like the box office lady kind of gave me like troubles because like I didn't have an ID. I'm like a kid, I don't have an ID. And they like got their tour manager to like go grab me a poster, and they kind of talked to me for a few minutes, and they're like, "Oh, where are you from?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm from a place just south of here. We're like the only place patented to sell fresh Kringle." And I didn't realize that Kringle was only like an us thing. And they were like, "What's Kringle?" And I started trying to like explain it, and they all kind of pulled out their phones and started Googling it. And Matt Greiner was like, "Is this like a donut?" And he showed me a photo of it, and I was like, "No, it's really fucking big. Like it's like this big, and it's filled with shit on the inside. Like it's not really like a donut." And he was like, "Can we go down the street and get it?" And I was like, "Yeah, you could probably find somewhere really close to here and go get it." And that was like the end of the encounter. And then like I was standing in line for merch, and they came out of a room or like a door that was along the wall that you couldn't really like see, and they like came out, and I like looked at them, they looked at me, and they're like, "We're gonna go get Kringle." And I was like, "Oh yeah, tight." I showed them Kringle. I was so happy about that.
Oh, I'm sure you were.
Those dudes are insanely good live. Holy
Yes, they are.
Fuck. Constellations, solid fucking choice. Good album.
Thank you.
I really like Rescue and Restore. Unpopular opinion, but I love Rescue
That
and
is,
Restore.
yeah. You know what? Honestly, I've gone back and listened to their whole discography, which I love just because, again, I'm a little bit biased because I'm very close to Philadelphia, and Philadelphia is basically their second home. So yeah. I have seen them practically every time that they've played in Philadelphia. And I don't know, they just, to me, they're one of those bands that I think is always exceptional live, and it's always a privilege to be able to see them so close and so often all the time. Especially I've seen them at like the holiday shows that they do, where they only do the holiday records and stuff, and it's mental. Like it is about as crazy as you would imagine it to be. It's just like
that sounds so
awesome. It's so cool. So I mean, I got to give them a lot of love just because like they're the ones who, I wouldn't say it inspired me to do this, but like it definitely played a large role in me getting into alternative music, which ultimately led me to doing this sort of stuff. So I gotta give him the shouts. So August Burns Red,
hell yeah, man,
love you. I'd love to have you on the channel. I would love to have you on the channel. So August Burns Red, if you somehow stumble upon this, is great. I will give a short little story. I did meet Matt Greiner at a Philly show, I think like last year, or maybe like the year before, and I didn't think it was him because he had like really long hair, like extremely long hair, and I almost mistook him for like Bradley Cooper because Bradley Cooper is also from Philadelphia area, so I almost thought it was Bradley Cooper, which also indirectly would also have been great too, but like I would have definitely more stoked to meet Matt. So I was like walking, he was like up in the top like. And watching, I was watching Angels and Airwaves, ironically enough, and they were coming back, and so Matt was like going to get a drink from the bar upstairs, and I was like, you know, it's my time. Let me just go say what's up to him. Like, if it's not him, you know, I'll just look like an idiot.
If it's
and that's
Bradley
okay.
Cooper,
if it's Bradley Cooper, if it's also Bradley, yeah. If it's also Bradley Cooper, it's whatever. That's cool too. So it turns out it was Matt, and I was talking to Matt, and I was like, hey man, like, you know, massive fan of August Burns Red. I'm like, I'm sure you get that a lot, but like genuinely, I was like, you know, I grew up in a religious home, so I wasn't really allowed to listen to like much music outside of that, and your band, along with like Under Oath, like Devil Wears Prada, all that stuff was allowed per se. And so so I was just like, I have a lot to owe to you, because like, you know, this is your band is what got me into like alternative music. And he's like, oh my God, man, thanks so much. I was like, I really appreciate it. I'm glad you've been a fan since like, you know, the Thrill Seeker days. Like, I still can't believe there's people out there that have listened to our music for that long. It's just insane to us. And, you know, all that sort of stuff. And I was just like, you know, honestly, I was like, this is going to sound like very, I don't want to say needy, but it definitely was like, I was like, I hope one day I'll be able to like interview August Burns Red, because that's on my bucket list. And he was like, oh man, he's like, we'd love to come on and all that sort of stuff. So, you know, listen, I'm not gonna hold Matt to it, because I'm sure he talks to a lot of different people, but he was like, he did give me a compliment. He was like, you're about the only person here that knew I was in August Burns Red. Everybody else was just like enjoying the Angels and Airways shows, which isn't a bad thing, but he's like, you know, I know you know your music. So, and then he's like, I'm gonna go watch Angels and Airwaves, but he's like, I appreciate you talking to me and all that sort of stuff. Very nice dude. I gotta say, there were some of the nicest people in the scene. Easy.
Humble. There's so much humility.
For sure. Yeah.
So much humility, dude. That's so cool. That's so fucking cool. You know, and I bet you that stuck out to him and has stuck out to him because of the fact that nobody else there was like he wasn't on that radar.
Yeah. So shout out to Matt Griner.
I
Man.
might know somebody I could talk to.
Okay.
I have one person in mind I might be able to talk to and be like, hey man, you should just slide this message this way. I got you, bro. I'll try.
You.
I'll try.
Thank you, Mike.
I can't promise anything.
Thanks, Mike. Well, ironically enough, we have reached the end of the line, which is the most important thing. Mike, tell them where they can find you at, where they can find your music at, what you have coming up, anything else you'd like to plug, talk about, things of that nature.
Man, I am on Spotify. I'm on Apple Music. I'm on YouTube. Mikeal James, Mikeal James. If you want to keep up with my tattoo shenanigans, my Instagram handle is MikealDTD, and that's like pretty much all I do is music and tattoos. So if you'd be so kind to take the time and check out all the fine things that I try to make, that'd be great. And I have lots of stuff that I will be putting out this year.
There we go. Awesome. Well, again, want to give a shout out to my girl, Nicole. I love her. Go check her out. Go check out her band, Renovaire. But more specifically, go check out Michael's stuff. Listen, what a nice dude. And he makes some incredible music. So please go check the links in the description. Go find out about his music. Go follow him on Spotify. Go give him a subscribe. You know your boy's going to go give Michael a subscribe literally as soon as I click end recording on this video. So please go check out his stuff. If you enjoyed this content, please share it, like, and subscribe. It goes a long way. I feel like a broken record asking for it every video, but honestly, if you don't ask for it, people aren't gonna give a shit. So
that's absolutely right.
If you want people to care about your stuff, please, it would mean a lot. We are very close to 2K on YouTube, so that would be great. So thank you so much. Huge thanks to Michael for coming on and chatting with me tonight.
Thank you for having me, man. I really appreciate it.